Ladies and gentlemen, live from Disneyland, California, and New York, New York. It is the Crossover Podcast on a Monday night of all nights. Yes, Paul decided to go to Disneyland and messed with the entire schedule, said that he couldn't do Sunday and told us all to go screw ourselves, but alas, here we are, recording live. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing really good. I've had a pretty good time down here. I'm actually at Disney World in Florida. Just
Even worse. Okay. God damn it. Now the whole intro is entirely somewhat irrelevant.
Well, it's fine because it's the same difference. They're both sunny and they're both extremely expensive. So,
I think I
I
need to
mean,
turn your volume up just a little bit.
oh my god. Yeah, I am on the old HyperX headset instead of the other mic.
Look at
So
you
it is
going
kind of
back to the
sad.
dark ages.
Yup. But luckily, while I was down here, I still got to catch, I'd say a majority of the games, and I got to catch highlights for the rest.
That's good.
So
So
it
basically,
was
we swapped
nice.
places. I was gone
Yeah.
last weekend watching highlights. You were gone this weekend watching highlights.
Yep.
It's easy enough. Well, the first bit of news to start off with that I know we're familiar with, I'm not sure if anybody else is. Again, this podcast is supposed to be dedicated to learning about NRG and the VCS. Uh, that is not going to happen because the VCS is delayed indefinitely due to another COVID outbreak, or I don't know fully what is going on there. All I know is we're not going to get any VCS action anytime soon, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I read that it was like a pretty big outbreak in their main city. So it seems like we're kind of just hosed for the VCS. Which is, yeah, really unfortunate because that's supposed to be our like intro topic every week. And it's kind of just not happening. And we're even kind of worried if they're going to go to Worlds, which is kind of a big part of the whole thing.
I'm
So
I want your honest opinion. Do you actually think the VCS is going to be going to Worlds this year? Because
I,
even if they do have a regular season, there's no guarantee if COVID is as bad as they're making it out to be, they might not be able to like no Vietnam team might be able to go at all.
yep. I mean, I honestly don't think they will since they didn't go last year and they didn't go to MSI. And if COVID's getting this much worse, I don't think they will. And I also don't know how beneficial it would be considering they're not playing until late, and I'm kind of worried about their burnout, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think it's a fantastic situation for the teams and the players. So, and I also don't think it's great to send them to Worlds to go play while they're worried about their families back home with
Agreed.
COVID.
You
So it
don't want to
just
put
seems
anybody
really
through that
messed
if you
up.
don't have to.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's unlucky news.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
I
sad.
don't want to dwell on it for too long, but I will say to the VCS fans out there, sorry. Hope you can find solace in other regions. We are, and one of the regions that we are finding a lot of solace in right now is the fact that TSM and 100 Thieves are still on top of it all. Most notably, TSM winning their game over Cloud9 on Sunday, and 100 Thieves winning their matchup against Team Liquid on Sunday. Two really good games to close out the weekend this past week. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, I want to start with TSM and just say that I'm very impressed by their bounce back. The 3-0 this week was clean. There weren't many scenarios where I looked at it and was like, yeah, you know, there's a lot of like red flags. It just was overall solid play, solid drafting, and I'm quite frankly happy to see him up there. I mean, I know you are, but
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing was that they their drafts seemed insane this week. Like they seem to still have problems with early game, in my opinion. Like they're just really struggling to clean it up and get the ball rolling. And so he just started drafting them these scaling comps that can just kind of sit there and not do a lot, especially for bottom lane, which I think is huge. Him giving bottom lane an easy out by just telling them to not do anything the whole game is very smart. It's putting them in a place to be carried. Very, very sadly reminiscent of last season, I would say this weekend was for the team.
Yeah.
Because it was literally just Hooney and Spica trying to get the ball rolling while the mid laner was playing a very good scaling champ and doing his job, and the bottom lane is just being told to don't mess it up too bad.
My
not the most confident inspiring.
my
But
question to
yeah.
you would be, personally, I don't mind that style. Like I don't know. For me, that's a good style that will lend well, or that will lend itself into Worlds. But the problem is their bot lane could potentially get abused. Like when I look at the matchup just against 100 Thieves, and the next time that they play, assuming they draft a similar style, can Lost and Sword Art weather the storm enough against a really good bot lane? Because let's be honest, C9's
Yep.
bot lane right now is kind of a little bit on the ropes. Uh, can they
It's not
handle the
great.
onslaught of a good team like 100 Thieves, or say they go to Worlds, somebody like Damwon's bot lane? Or not Damwon, RNG's bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really hoping we can get a best of 5 between 100 Thieves and TSM, because I think that'll be a really good way to judge their bottom lane and see how they can hold out in that kind of scenario. I mean, this week, to be honest, Sword Art and Lost didn't look like dead weight, which was pretty cool to see. I mean, that was very nice. Like, Lost actually looked pretty decent, and Sword Art on Lulu was very nice to watch. He seemed nice there, and his Braum was good. He had one mistake, I think I remember seeing, where he got caught out. And I mean, the way they match up against 100 Thieves is just going to be very telling for that bottom lane. Because honestly, when you look at TL's bottom lane and C9's, they both look awful right now. I don't know what's going on. So you can't really judge them between them.
Yeah.
So it's just impossible. And yeah,
I
it's unfortunate.
I'm torn on the weathering the storm style has historically worked in NA
Hmm.
because it seems like, and this is the area where it scares me a little bit with FBI and who he is, that their mid to late game can be questionable at times. Although this year or this split, it seems like it's kind of shored up that weakness a little bit. So
Hmm.
maybe they'll be fine. Maybe they'll be able to smash it enough. And also, I quite frankly, after watching this weekend, uh, did you see the draft that 100 Thieves went with on Sunday with the Vayne bot lane
Yeah,
pick?
I really enjoyed the Diana vein.
I'm sitting there like, okay, so FBI is just gonna wait, farm this out, and become a monster in the late game and just take over. And then all of
Hmm.
a sudden, him and Hui are fighting level 1 against Tactical and Core JJ and winning.
Hmm.
And it's like, what what the hell? Like if this is what they're gonna do, I like it. And they played the entire draft well. Like closer played Diana better than any other Diana that I think we saw this weekend. And I don't even
Yeah,
think it
for
was
sure.
close.
His was the most, I mean, it was the most impressive in the sense of like just raw damage, and he was piloting the champion really well at like surviving that initial burst, because a lot of Dianas will just look inty sometimes. And I do think the set pick was actually like incredible. Like set makes up for a lot of what Vayne can't do early, and it's nice to see him picked because I don't get why a lot more pro teams aren't using him. I feel like we should be seeing he should be almost 100% pick ban because of how much you can flex him between top and support and maybe mid sometimes, but
He,
rarely.
he's generally banned against 100 Thieves because it's who he's best support champion by a
Makes
by a
sense.
mile. So I highly doubt if we will see very many games where he gets that support set.
Hmm.
Like I don't know, maybe, but like you said, the flex options are definitely there. And Abadage is diverse enough of a player that he could run the set mid if he truly wants to as well.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, their roster is just, I feel like it's too broken to be giving him that good of an engaged support. Like an engaged support that does damage and doesn't die. It's just not fair for how good they're playing right now.
Here's my question
I
to you
mean,
then. We talked about this last week, where the goal for Reaper was clearly to try and make every 100 Thieves player the best in their role. Get all
Hmm.
pro in every role. Last week we said almost every player was arguably in that competition.
Yep.
This week, after now a loss to CLG but 2 bounce back wins, would you still consider every player there or no?
Yeah, I still think all of them are close enough to getting it. I still think Closer's the only one I'm iffy about, and that's only because Spica has been popping off,
Yeah.
and everyone likes a good storyline. I mean, Broxa got Player of the Week this week, and I undoubtedly thought he would get it just because of storyline. So I could see a world where Huni and Spica get if TSM can keep number one, number two, I could see a world where they get first team just because of storyline.
Yeah.
And I mean, because they're gonna sit there and go, well, we can say someday got it, or we could do Huni, TSM Huni, got first team. Oh, that's gonna be sick, and they're gonna throw him up there. And I think that's the only thing that could stop him, to be honest, because I don't see any other player that on any other team that's better than 100 Thieves. Like they're clearly Abadage in PoE are like the only two I think fighting for best mid. And Abadage's flashier, so I'd rather see him get it. And
Although I
FBI and what?
oh god, no god.
Oh, I was just saying FBI and Huhi are like clear and far away the best bot lane. I was even very skeptical of them because of their mid to late game, and they've cleared it up for me enough to
Yeah.
make me a believer.
That
Like,
well, that's what I was gonna ask you. Is I know you were hesitant on them, coming into this split where it was like, okay, they still smash lane, but can they carry it out late game? And now that seems shored up.
oh
The
yeah,
the one player that I'll throw into the mix that I think knocks someday out of contention is, and I think we saw this clearly in the TL game. Jenkins is good,
oh
really,
true.
really good. He had what, 2 solo kills against 100 Thieves in that series. I mean, it didn't go on to mean anything, but it was the Akali versus Lee Sin. Abadage was on Lee Sin. They rotated him up top lane. Lee Sin got a
Mhm.
solo kill on Jenkins Akali first, but then it was 2 back-to-back solo kills from Jenkins after that.
Yep.
One of which being one of the better mechanical plays I've seen in a long time from any NA Akali player, with timing the shroud for Lee Sin's ult. It was
Yep.
it was perfect to the point where I'm willing to say, as of right now, despite how well Huni and Someday are playing, and yeah, I mean they're really the only two top laners I think that really stand out that much. I'd be willing to put Jenkins above both of them right now.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. The only thing I think could crutch him would be if TL gets rid of him for Alfari, which I still think is possible because they gave a date for him.
I don't think it's gonna
And
happen. I really
you
don't.
know,
No,
that'd be interesting if it didn't.
because
Man,
I
I mean, if it doesn't, I could still maybe he gets it, but it's very rare they throw a rookie up there, especially if the rookie. I mean, if they don't do better than what they did in spring placement wise, I don't see them getting it just because of clout and like storyline reasons,
you do realize
which
the
would
only
be
place better than
unfortunate.
Spring would be first, right? They finished
Yeah,
second.
we're tied for second again, and right now aren't they third?
Yeah, let me pull up the standings, but I think they're tied for third with
Yeah,
Cloud9.
that's my only worry is because if they're tied for third, and TSM gets first like clearly far and away, I could see them doing that or 100 Thieves. I mean, the only thing that does help Jenkins is exactly what you said. He plays very oriented champions, so that makes him very flashy and cool. So people that stands out to people.
Yeah,
And I would say out of all the three of them, Someday plays the least amount of flashy champions. So
yeah.
that could be really tough for him to get it because being a team player doesn't get votes. Not sure why. Well, I am sure why. It's for ratings. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but it just doesn't get votes. I mean, there's also a lot of weeks left. There's what, 5 more to
Yeah,
go?
yeah. Or
Yeah.
6. Sorry, 6 more.
Oh yeah, six, true. So we
Which
got a lot of time
I must say,
to see how Jenkins does.
I love how this split is progressing. I'm already loving the triple round robin. And we're not
Very
even
true.
out of we just got done with the first stage of it.
Yeah, and it's super fun.
Oh, it's
Like
a blast.
it's beyond fun. The amount of games happening, and the fact that 100 Thieves and TSM play again so soon is very good for viewership and ads. Like your two biggest, I would say, Twitter follower orgs, or like two of the bigger Twitter follower orgs right now. I would maybe most impressions. I'm sure TSM and 100 Thieves get more impressions than C9 and TL right now.
C9, I would say still probably first in my
Oh,
opinion.
they are.
They do a lot of
That's
interactions
a
on
good
Twitter.
point. That's a good point. They do a
100
ton.
Thieves, I would say, is probably actually fourth still.
Oh, okay.
TSM first, TSM or Cloud9 first. I'm not sure how TSM's impressions are doing, but Cloud9 converts more of their followers than TSM does, because the majority of TSM's followers
Ah,
are Fortnite kids.
good point. Good point. Then yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can hype it up. I'm still interested in that series or that game. I'm really hoping that they can do something that is cool on the desk, but please, all I ask, do not go the EU route. Please do not sit there and give me 30 minutes of old kings versus new kings. I can't do that. I
I agree.
don't need that in my life. Just tell me, hey, these two teams are really good and they're both rich. Do you want to watch them play each other? Because they'll probably be around for a long time. And I'll be like, yeah, why not? And then they'll hopefully, as we did talk about in the Discord DMs, TSM has to show up. They
Yeah,
gotta play the game this time.
they cannot. I mean, they've obviously developed since the last time they played 100 Thieves, but let's be
Yeah.
honest, it was not pretty the last time
No, no.
at
And we
all.
really gotta hope it's not. I I just have this feeling one of them is gonna get stopped because every loss I see TSM and 100 Thieves have is literally terrible. It's so bad. They look awful when they lose.
Yeah,
Like both teams, for some reason, they just start losing the game, and you're like, oh, they're just gonna lose the whole thing. They're like already 0-5 on most champs.
to be fair,
Interesting.
what do you do? Like I
Oh,
saw
there's
this.
nothing.
What do you
Yeah.
do as a Varus against a
Yeah.
Vi, Galio, Set, Callista? Even
Yeah.
if you dodge two of them and you use Cleanse or Tom Kench, Callista's still gonna throw another one on top of you.
Mhm.
Like, no matter what you do, you're screwed. Like, you have to get ahead. They weren't able to, which that's on them. But the second they fall behind with that comp, they were done. They stood
Yeah.
no chance. And it's like Abadaga hit like a 4 or 5 man Oriana ult at the end, and FBI landed a Q, and it did like half their health, and that's it. And like all of them like were perfectly fine. It was like
Yep.
this is so dumb. I hate it. Like, and I saw this on one of my TikTok comments today. Somebody's like, "What's your thoughts on CLG and can they keep this up?" My answer is no. There's no
No.
way like you can continue to draft like press R and win the game comps for an entire split before somebody figures you out. Like I'm not saying
Mhm.
like they could very well go 3-0 for like the next 2 weeks, but I don't think this is something that by the time playoffs comes, there's no way that works in a best of 5.
Yeah. I mean, they got bailed out to probably make playoffs, just in the sense of like it's 8 seeds. So all they have to do is hope that two teams somehow end up worse than them. But at the same time, they still have a ton of ground to make up.
To be fair,
Like,
I think they finished the split 6th. So in terms
uh,
of placing, their CLG is at 9 wins, same as FlyQuest and Golden Guardians at the moment, or
okay.
Golden Guardians has 6. Sorry, Immortals has 12 at 7th, and Dignitas has 14 at 6th. Dignitas is falling off hard,
Yeah,
and
they're done.
they're done done. So like they're just gonna free fall for the rest of the split. I have
Mhm.
no doubt in my mind that CLG can make up the 6 game ground there. And Immortals, I'm not sold on Immortals for anything. Like one week they
Nope.
come out and they 3-0 against fairly easy opponents. The next time they don't. Like it's I I don't know. I have not been impressed by Immortals, all things considered. They're decently fun to watch, but like I don't watch them and have faith that like yeah, this is a team that's gonna win a playoff series.
Yeah, I think they're like, I'd say you could literally clump CLG, Immortals, and EG into the same basket of like EG this week looked impressive, but that's because Jizuke literally peaked out of his mind, and his Lucian play, I mean, that was nutty. That whole game where he was just somehow maintaining 12 CS
Yeah.
uh, a minute, and his damage was insane. But like, I don't see EG doing that every week because Jizuke has been coin flip the whole year.
And that's not
And
stopping anytime soon.
yeah, and CLG, I mean, they had a 3-0 week. They're looking decent. They're looking like they're figuring it out. But I need to see that a lot more if you're gonna tell me to put all my eggs in their basket. Because I mean, they literally have spent most this year sucking, if we're being honest. And Immortals is just whatever, man. I don't know what Immortals is doing half the time. I mean, that
Speak
game against TSM was heartbreaking for them.
yeah,
Like,
definitely.
that's just tough. I don't even know what you tell your players as a coach after you lose that. Like,
Speaking of not knowing what to tell your players after something like that, uh, Cloud9 suck. Uh, I don't know what else to say about them right now. Granted, I, you know 3 week against EG, Immortals, and TSM. TSM
yep.
being the most understandable, the rest not excusable at all.
No.
Is this them falling apart?
Um. So I will start off with I still think King is no better than Sven, and I think he lowers their ceiling. That's my opinion on King. I don't get what their issue is with Sven, but they need to get over it because it's not looking good. And then two, like, the Renekton mid is not working.
No.
Like,
I
I
think
don't.
Perks even said it himself. He's never playing Renekton mid
Yeah,
again.
I mean, I know he failed his driving test, so he tweeted he was tilted. But I mean, come on, man. Like, if you're locking in Renekton mid seriously anymore, just stop memeing. Please stop. I mean, I get they hate LS and they want him to feel pain and they want to show him that Renekton is good, but it's not. You're just feeling his fire. So it's like, please stop. And Fudge like has dropped off the planet. I thought Fudge was good. MSI Fudge was dope. And I don't know what he's doing now. He sucks.
I still have faith for Fudge to get back around. Like you don't show that much skill on an international stage and then it just
True.
fade away. So this might be my favoritism or bias towards him, and I'll gladly acknowledge that. But it
Okay.
feels like this is a team wide thing that's dragging them all down.
I agree.
I don't know what it is, but none of them are playing well. The fact that I feel like nobody has mentioned Blabber's name in 3 weeks,
Yeah. No, yeah.
which is
I
insane.
I mean, I
It's
only did it there because I I think mentioning Blabber means you have to talk about a lot, which I mean is a lot to unpack because Blabber, honestly, in my opinion, is the reason they're all tilted. Because it seems like C9's not willing to get rid of him, and obviously they got rid of Sven instead of him after he played terribly. So my guess is Sven said something about him that was really, really tough. And then because Blabber's MVP, he got to stay and Sven had to go. And the rest of the team is noticing that Blabber is still sucking. So
that's an interesting theory, which
yeah,
makes sense to a certain extent. I, I just don't get it with Blabber. This is now the third year in a row
yeah,
where the meta changes and he just falls off the face of the planet. It
yeah.
makes it like it at this point I'm willing to say it's not the metas anymore. It has to be something mentally or internally that like
I
maybe gets burned out, uh, he gets pissed off at teammates and just rage it. Like I don't know. Like none of this makes sense for him to collapse this hard so consistently every
Mhm.
year. Like I
My well, my personal theory is like basically he just hard or he can't adapt. I think he can't adapt at all. And when summer hits and the patches change, there's not enough time for him to readapt. And he gets behind. And it stresses him out. That's from outside looking in though. I'm not in there. I'm not like
none of
a
us are.
pro.
We have to speculate
Yeah,
because we're from the outside. And if anybody criticizes us for speculating, well, you know what?
true.
Tell us insider information, and then we won't. But otherwise,
True.
at least we're talking about it.
Yeah. It's a good point. And I don't know if you disagree with that. Like, do you think it's because he just can't adapt and it stresses him?
No,
That's all I can think of.
no. I find it hard to believe that he can't adapt because the biggest the biggest problem that people said last year was that he can only play the carry champions like Olaf, Kindred, and champs like that.
Hmm.
Then he gets MVP during a split where it's just Hecarim and Udyr all year long.
True.
And it's not like they're carrying the game. They're setting up plays. So it's two completely different styles. So he clearly can adapt. The the thing that I'm worried about, and this is something from last year too, is that I'm not impressed by Mithy as a coach. I
Mm.
wasn't when he was on Fnatic as their head coach. It felt like I don't know. It felt limited in some capacity. Now, granted, some of that might have been the players. I don't know, but this is now two examples of Mithy coming in as head coach, and by all means, it could have been a dumpster fire prior to him stepping in.
Yep.
But it's not turning around. Like you look at the difference between him stepping in for Cloud9 and Reaper stepping in for 100 Thieves,
Mm.
and it's night and day.
Yeah, you're right.
That's like I don't know. Are
Mm.
maybe it's the coach? I don't. There. It seems like there's so many nuances to the Cloud9 situation that we're just never gonna know until it
Hmm.
finally clicks, and then people look back on it with hindsight. It's like, yeah, this is what happened. But at the current moment, from everything that I've seen, the only two teams that I feel confident in going to Worlds at this point are TSM and 100 Thieves,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
I don't know how
weird.
we got here.
No, I don't know how we. I'm not going to complain at all,
Nope. Nope.
but I have no clue how we got here.
Yeah, like I'm genuinely after this weekend, I was like, "Huh, I guess this 100 Thieves TSM Best of 5 is gonna be dope, because it's gonna be a top side versus bot side of the map, like Best of 5." and, but then I was like, "Yeah, but I just don't get where Cloud9 went." And I think what's like also really odd about Cloud9 is like, uh, how on earth did does this happen with two different coaching staffs?
Yeah,
Like,
like
this
you
doesn't
saw
make
the
any sense.
problems.
Yeah. Now, the
I,
only constant I can think of between these two coaching staffs is yet again Blabber and Vulcan. They're the only two who've stayed through the whole time, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it's Vulcan's fault.
no, I
I,
near do I. Like I, if
yeah,
you watching Vulcans play, it is not a doubt in my mind that he's not an issue there.
yeah, and I just feel like the issue is this is gonna be one of those like TSM getting rid of double of situations where you're gonna see Cloud9 get rid of Blabber, and he's gonna go like to TL and have the year of his life, like 3 championships back to back to back, maybe a fourth if they fourth Pete again off of taking some team's stud. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Well, here's my question to you then: who
Like,
does Cloud9 get?
I don't even know. That's the thing.
Like
Like
the
Kenvi,
best.
do you just try to buy
No,
out
oh
Kenvi?
hell no. 100 Thieves would be dumb to get rid of Kemby.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
you 100% hold on to Kemby and tenacity till the end of this year. See how you do internationally, and I guarantee like Papa is already having the conversations internally on when the appropriate time to put in Kemby and tenacity is going to be, because that
Yeah,
is going to upset a lot of people in the community.
it will.
Like
Watch
someday,
C9 self-made.
oh Jesus. Jesus.
C9 self-made can ruin C9 as well.
So, kind of related to this, and I'll bring this in for the last thing that
Okay.
we say about LCS for now. Uh, there, the big the big scuff of this week was Travis Gafford reporting that LCS teams may not be required to field an academy team
Yeah.
soon. That is a change that they're possibly discussing. There was the whole drama of whether it was properly done or not. Jacob Wolf came in with a little sucker punch. Uh, it was really good drama, I must say. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, what are your thoughts on teams not having to field an academy team?
I mean, I personally don't mind it because I mean, academies literally just become this veteran player, like, I don't know, retirement home basically.
Yeah,
And I mean, bad team, I'm gonna be real, bad teams don't put up good academy rosters a lot of the times. Some do, like, don't get me wrong, some do, but a lot of them, they're not really doing anything with academy players. And I don't think it's actually a good, honestly, I don't think it's a good opportunity for academy dudes to sit on bad teams as academy team.
agreed.
So, like, I'm totally fine with them not requiring it because I know teams like TSM, 100 Thieves, obviously, EG, Cloud9, and TL are still gonna do developmental programs because
Yeah,
they believe in it. And the ones that don't, I don't really care not doing a developmental program because they already stink at it, and the dudes that they're developing never really make the stage.
yeah.
So,
I I'm of the same opinion for the most part, where I don't personally. So the LEC got rid of the rule last year, where teams
yep,
are not required to field a EU Masters or like a amateur team or academy team, whatever you want to call it over there. The difference is that they have the infrastructure to handle it. Like there
yep,
are a lot of teams that specialize in just pumping out minor league players and getting them to pro, cashing in on the money, and just profiting that way. Because there is money to be made on that, as Cloud9 has clearly shown. If you can set their buyouts at a decently high price, but also one that people will actually pay for, then it is technically worth it. Uh, the team that I do disagree with you on is TSM. I think TSM gets rid of their academy team almost immediately and their amateur team.
well, I don't think they get rid of the amateur team. They've been producing a lot of good amateur
Actually, yeah, I think you're right.
academy.
I think they get rid of the academy team. I think they keep the
Yeah,
amateur team. I think that's
yeah,
I think you skip the middle ground.
yeah.
100
Well, I think
Thieves
it's
is the
smart.
exception, where I think they keep both teams. At
It
least at
depends
the
how
moment.
many. I mean, I think it'll just depend for an org how much you think you need the academy roster. Like, I think 100 Thieves likes their academy guys and they like their next guys, so they'll keep them. But I think TSM realizes like the only guy they really like on their academy team is probably Sword, if I had to make a guess. And because he's the only one who they really have done anything with.
Yeah.
And they don't really need their academy team, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you just don't need Hanser and Johnson and uh I can't even remember their sports name. I remembered it last week. I don't this week. But you don't need him either. Now their jungler's some brand new guy, but I don't even know who he is. And Sword's really the only one who's been interesting, and he's been on their like next team for a while. So I don't really know why they would keep the academy team, and I don't know what the academy team would do if there's no academy. So
I get it. I don't know. I'd be curious to see in a world where we do get rid of it, do I end up
mhm.
watching Academy or Amateur more or less?
I'd
Because
love A and B teams. That'd be so cool.
that would be cool.
Imagine like 100 Thieves A and B and TSM A and B, and like it's literally just new dudes on these A and B teams running through stuff like EU Masters, but in A Masters. Like just rip the name, who cares?
Yeah.
And just do that. It'd be so sick.
I'd like to see it. I think I'd be down for that.
Yeah,
Uh,
see how many dudes these like major orgs can rack up that are just really talented, mechanically skilled players.
Just let it be a fiesta 24/7.
Yes.
Speaking
Just
of,
roster swapping.
oh yeah. Any other items you want to cover on this before I move us on?
Oh, no. To
On
be
LCS,
honest, no.
we'll get back
LCS.
to the broadcast drama in a bit.
Yeah, we will.
But I just want to get to the good old LEC. European fans, the fans that I've likely pissed off in the last 2 hours on TikTok. I apologize. I'm sorry. But Misfits is still at the top of the leaderboard, and they've lost one of the most heartbreaking games that I've seen in a while to Rogue, which
Yeah.
they should have won. They got unlucky. They kind of chucked the game on themselves. It just kind of is what it is. But Misfits are still sitting in first place alongside G2.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
I Do you have faith still? Like you were all aboard the hype train last week.
Yeah, and I said though I needed a few weeks to see, and I still think I need time. The thing is, I like them. I do like them. I think they're really good. They have some funny BM with each other. Where did you see the interviewer here? It said that Vithio loves Chovy, but he doesn't have Chovy's champ pool.
Yeah.
That was funny, but I don't know enough about this Misfit squad to like, or it's not that I don't know enough, it's that I'm kind of nervous week 5 they're just going to implode.
Yeah.
They just have that feeling. They have that vibe, and I don't personally think that a lot of the teams that are struggling like right now are going to keep struggling. So, I
I
don't
agree.
see a world where they continue at this peak.
I
I don't
If they
see that.
do, I think it will be 2 weeks, like you said, right about 2 weeks from now, where we'll get a good
Yep.
sense of like, okay, we're starting to see the cracks in the armor. You know,
Yeah.
the loss to Rogue is kind of an important one because that's somebody right around their spot in the standings.
Yep.
Uh, in terms of their schedule for the upcoming week, they have XL and Schalke 04. So
Dang.
realistically, they should 2-0. And I think
Yeah.
this is going to be. Grant, the LEC's been a little bit weird in summer where it seems like any team can really lose to anybody. Uh, but if you want to prove yourself to be a top team, you need to like secure or safely win these games against lower tier teams. Like
Agreed.
that, it's not the win over G2 in a best of one is not what cements you as a top team. It's consistently dominating the teams below you.
Mhm.
So them going 2-0 this week, in my opinion, will give me a little bit of reassurance going into next week, where they would then have Mad Lions and G2. So they're in for 2 weeks from now. Like that's going to be their week from hell. But you have to secure the 2 wins this week.
Yeah, I mean oh, that's tough though. That is tough. Man, EU having that six positions in playoffs, I love so much more than NA doing 8.
Same.
I think it really adds to this, like especially to these little storylines with Misfits and Mad Lions struggling right now. Because what you said is very true. Like them not winning right now is a big deal, and it should mean a lot more. But
If they were in the
oh man,
LCS system, it wouldn't matter because you can
yeah,
lose those
they
two
would.
games and top 8 gets in. I
Oh yeah,
agree with
this
you.
run right now they've had the first 2 weeks would be almost enough to get you in the door.
Yeah,
Kind of
I mean,
insane.
I think it. I realistically, it probably is.
Yeah, it's like as long as you just keep occasionally winning a game here and there, you'd be good.
Yeah.
But now they're kind of in a weird spot, and G2 looking like kind of back to life, but I just don't know what's going on with G2 yet because last split they looked good right around now too. And I thought they were gonna be top dog, and then they like fizzled out. So
So
it's a
let
lot of
me,
struggles.
to those that don't know, Nelson is one of the new coaches of G2. And he did an interview where the headline is this, and I would read the full article if I were you. It's on Reddit, but the
Mhm.
headline actually does a pretty good job of summing things up in a realistic manner. Where he said about G2, they realize they are very, very far behind compared to the rest of the world. There are
Mhm.
many things we don't consciously think about in game, which the Chinese and Korean teams do. I think that hits the nail on the head. Like that's been my biggest gripe with the LEC this split is that there has been a noticeable drop off in quality in a way. Like it's not like the teams are playing significantly worse, but it just feels like it's not that level above the LCS like it used to be. Like cuz that's my metric of comparison. I don't know if that's what you compare it to as well. Uh even though people want to think that Europe is up there with the LPL and LCK, arguably closer to the LCK. Uh, I don't know. It seems like it just it doesn't hit the same. Like when G2 was on top of things in 2019, and even when they stumbled in 2020, it just felt different than it did now. I don't know if you get that feeling.
No, yeah, I do. I mean, I think my biggest issue with EU right now is it seems what's the best way to put it? It's not like it's kind of like the magic, I guess, of it is gone with the EU. Like it used to be with the EU games. I don't know, I thought there was a lot of good play, but it was like you could see kind of the difference between it and LCS in the sense of like you could tell that their bottom lanes and their mid laners specifically were a lot better. But it's almost funny in a way that NA has basically bought up a lot of the EU mids. So they've kind of taken that difference, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And kind of figured it out. Now, NA bottom lanes, I honestly don't know how big of the gap really is anymore because, I mean, the bottom lanes in the EU are kind of weird at times.
like
So,
the best bot lane is supposed to be Reckless and or not Reckless and Hillsing, Reckless and Mickey X.
Mickey,
But if we compare them to the 100 Thieves bot lane, I feel like I have more faith in the 100 Thieves bot lane than I do in Reckless and Mickey X at the
yeah,
moment.
I mean, yeah, I would,
Not overall
I could
team, but like
see.
just a 2v2 lane. If you were to put those two up
No,
against each
yeah,
other,
yeah, I'm thinking like late game, would I think Reckless can survive long enough? And I do, but at the same time, I could definitely see a world where Huhi and FBI take over so hard that they can end the game if
yeah,
100 Thieves is playing right on form. And honestly, I don't think someday is that much worse than Wonder right now.
I would put them about equal personally
Yeah,
because
and I know Closer is a maybe a little worse than Yankos, but I honestly think he's at the same level easily right now.
and
Yankos is pretty
Avidage and
strong.
Perks have already played against each other enough times for
Or
us to know
Caps,
that,
Caps,
or
yeah,
Caps, yeah, like they played
yeah.
against each other enough times for us to know like they're similar skill. Caps
Hmm.
has that X factor that puts him above and beyond if he gets in that zone, but in terms of like
Yeah,
normal skill level, they are right about the same.
yeah.
So
I'm
it's
just
like
worried it would be Hopium and they choke force like NA does.
I wouldn't doubt it, but like I don't know, like it just it feels different, and I don't know if this is I no, this is not just me because I see it everywhere on social media as well. It
Hmm.
seems like more people care about the LCS right now than the LEC. Like it
Yeah,
seems
doesn't LEC get good views though?
they get good viewer. Yes, they definitely get more viewership. Like there's no hiding that. But outside of the viewership, I feel like the conversation is dominated by it North America.
True.
Like Twitter and other various social media sites, it feels like the conversation is North America over anything else right now. The dramas
Yeah,
in North America, like everything is there right now. What for better or for worse, it's all there. Whereas the
yeah,
LEC, at least for now, which this could change by the time playoffs comes, but at least for now, it just feels like I don't know. It's just missing something.
Well,
And I
that's just throw us into it. Do it. Throw us into the topic.
what, the Monty?
No, I was meaning the Dole topic.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Just say
So
the word, Paul.
so let me ask you this question. Is the LEC dull right now?
Yes. 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 One, I want to say this very clearly. I hate that it's on Friday. I know it's been on Friday for a while, but Friday stinks.
Well, let me ask you
Every
this.
American dude is working that day.
Do you hate Fridays because there's no Sunday, or do you just hate Fridays in general?
Yes, no Sunday is what I hate the most. And everybody works on Friday. Well, most of people work Fridays. So the last thing, I mean, I'm sure you people want to do it sometimes, but I'm not gonna lie, Fridays even for LCS. When I get home from work, I watch my team. I don't want to watch the rest because I'm very tired on Fridays. I worked. I usually want to hang out with people or play video games. So I don't understand why they're trying to force you to be on Fridays so hard.
I I think I saw this on Reddit a bit ago, and I completely agree with the sentiment of. I know people were hesitant about the LCS going to 3 days versus two, but I firmly believe it's one of the best changes that we've seen in a long time for the
Yeah,
LCS
it's
format.
fun.
It's nice to have 3 days of games. It gives you a better sense of where teams are at. It paints a better picture and allows some of the storylines to flow a little bit better so you're not just left constantly in limbo. You can actually lock down some solid storylines. But on top of that, as you said, even if you don't watch on Friday and there's one day of the weekend that you don't watch, for me it actually tends to be Sunday more than Friday. Friday I tend to watch almost all the games across LEC and LCS, but Sunday if I might tune in for my team on Sunday, but I'll skip the rest of the games just cuz
Hmm.
I don't it's the end of the weekend. I just kind of want to chill unless it's like something big like I it doesn't impact me as much. Uh I love the change. I 100% love it. I think the LEC is 100% suffering because of that. Like
Yep.
now that we have seen it for an entire split, and now, like the biggest gripe that people had sorry, the biggest gripe that people had last split was that the LCS was too short because of lock-in tournament, which I
Hmm.
generally agree with. The split felt like it was over in an instant, and I personally didn't care for that. But so far this split, it has felt amazing. It feels like you have so much League of Legends left, whereas the LEC, it feels like I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it's as electric.
No, it doesn't. And I'm wondering partly, I can't decide if it's orgs, if the orgs are doing very good at making rivalries almost. I just can't decide. I don't know. Because I don't like, I mean, one, we both agree that the days are just, I think, yeah, LCS on Fridays really does hurt them because I'm getting my league fix. I don't need LEC as well. But LEC viewership is doing fine, so I guess LCS isn't really hurting it that bad. I don't know.
No, I mean
But
realistically, like us saying this is not like indicative of the LEC hurting. The LEC is doing
yeah,
perfectly fine in terms of viewership. They're right on
it
par with where
is.
they normally are. But the difference is normally it's growing. Like
Hmm.
split over split, it has been consistently growing. This is the first split where it feels like, okay, it's remaining steady, which is not a problem. But that's where the LCS has been for a while. And it's starting to transition that feel that people got eerie about with the LCS now to the LEC.
Hmm.
And I I brought this up as what I brought this up a little bit ago, and it I think it's still relevant. Do you think an LEC spot is worth more than an LCS spot, even with the viewership increase?
Mm, no, because well, I think over the next few years it'd be a better investment to have the LCS team.
I think that's my biggest point here too.
Yeah.
Is that even though the LEC is arguably more competitive, they stand a better
Hmm.
chance at winning internationally. the money is still in NA. And as much as
Yeah,
people want to say that we don't care about that, we secretly really do. It
yeah,
makes a big difference that people just don't want to talk about. Like TSM's valuation
true.
being so much higher than Fnatic's, despite them partially being a content brand and everything else, that has an impact. If you don't think that
Does
Fnatic and G2 look over their shoulders and see that number and just get a little bit pissed off, you'd be shocked.
yeah,
I,
because didn't like G2 tweet that they don't need to sell their name for a brand deal? But
yeah,
but it's funny, G2 didn't tweet. You didn't see any insiders tweeting about how much G2 got for that deal.
the Ralph Lauren deal,
Yeah,
which
nobody
I
was tweeting about how much they got, but everybody wanted to announce that TSM number because that was a big shiny number.
mm-hmm. And I will to make this clear. G2, if any representatives are watching and you have any Ralph Lauren stuff on hand that you're
Oh,
looking
true,
to get
true,
rid of in a like a in right in
true.
my size, like I'll DM you the metrics if you want. I'll
Yeah,
gladly take that because like I will rep an entire G2 wardrobe for the rest of my life in the office, so long as you have a partnership with Ralph Lauren. Because that is like
true.
I love their clothes for
That was a
work.
good deal. It was a good deal.
Phenomenal.
Just made me laugh.
It also makes me want to cut my hair like Reckless. Like I would love to get his hairstyle because god damn does that dude look good.
He
Jesus
does.
Christ.
Very good.
But yeah, you're right. Like the hype around that deal, while big, nowhere close to what
Nope.
FTX was with TSM. Not even
Yeah,
in the
that
same
stole Reddit.
ballpark.
Like that owned Reddit on a game day, or but a day before game day, and even on the game day, most of the talk was about the deal.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd be
so,
curious to see if the broadcast maybe does mention it and kind
yep.
of jokes about it. Uh, but this is the other area of it that I wanted to get your thoughts on. And I haven't talked to you about this, so I have no clue what your view is.
Oh,
Do you agree with this statement? The LCS broadcast is blowing the LEC broadcast out of the water this split.
oh, who said that?
I said that.
Oh, I,
I haven't heard anybody talk about it on an
hmm,
official basis yet, but I firmly believe that
I'd
between the
say
three
so
pre-shows,
far, yes. Yeah.
why?
Oh, what? Finish? You're good. Finish your thing.
Oh no, I was just
I
gonna
just
say
wanted to hear it.
between the three pre-shows, which are insane quality relative
Hmm.
to anything else. Like these three shows make up for every like the LEC songs, the skits, everything there. Like this blows that out of the water
Hmm.
without question, and it's not even close in my opinion. But again, my viewership tastes are different, so I understand people's differentiating views on that.
Yep.
I, I just don't see a world in which anybody can look at it and say, yeah, the LEC desk is better right now than the LCS.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. I mean, the LCS show, in my opinion, even the LEC people tweeted, to be clear, to start this, they tweeted that they're struggling right now
Oh,
and they
they
don't
did?
know why. Yeah, I mean, I remember after week one, Shocks and like Medic, and I think Vedius 2 tweeted that they didn't have that good of a week one and that they were going to try better week two.
Huh.
And I was kind of like, oh, that's weird. And then week two, they kind of struggled a little bit too. I felt like, or they were okay, but it just wasn't that interesting for some reason to me. And the LCS, like, their pre-shows right now are really good. They're just really enjoyable. I would say the analyst desk on LCS, I still don't know if I think it's better than LECs or not. I don't know. I don't really watch the analyst desk though, because I just go to watch streamers.
So,
To be honest, I'm a big watch stream or
okay,
stream watch guy.
okay, so you're big into the co-streams though.
Yeah, co-streams. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what they're called.
interesting. Okay, so this brings up the other topic of somebody posted on social media talking about the LCS desk needs to focus on post game analysis better, and they basically laid into the broadcast for saying that they did not talk about TSM after they beat Cloud9. They instead focused on 100 Thieves. And they didn't talk about CLG as much after their 3-0. And he just basically said that he wants teams to get praise where it's warranted. I think there needs to be full context on this that a lot of people are leaving out. And the first is that there was a change that was made to the broadcast this year, or this split particularly, where instead of spending a lot of time on the post-game breakdown of the previous game and then just having like a quick intro, like saying like up next 100 Thieves versus Dignitas, or whatever it's going to be, they swapped it. So now after each game, they'd spend more time talking about the preview for the next game than the analysis of the game before. And the reason why, if we look back at the schedule for the LCS, the game after TSM versus Cloud9 was FlyQuest Immortals. Nobody gives a shit about that game. I'm sorry, but nobody does. Like, people would wait to see the final game of the day to watch Jizuke play for EG, but nobody cared. The two big games of the day were done. And should they have talked more about TSM? Sure. But I'm not as bothered by this because before every game, they do a really good job of previewing what's to come. And I think that's where the meat of it lies. What's your thoughts on it? Because you're the TSM fan here.
Here, this is gonna sound whack, but I actually love this only because I love what they did, and because I think it subtly creates a lot of tension between the two teams. Now, I think it's really good for building a rivalry that we've been wanting them to build, and I don't know if they intended to do it this way, but I think low key what they did builds a rivalry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you sit there and you just like completely ignore what one team did, all of a sudden they're fans. Now people are going to check out the analyst desk who might not have checked it out just to see after TSM plays 100 Thieves to see if they mention TSM. You know,
If
see what
I'm
they said.
if I'm Dash or if I'm like one of the analysts, Mark Z specifically, I could see doing this. Every time TSM plays, just throw 100 Thieves in there. Just mention it
Oh
once.
yeah,
Just say it one time, just to piss everybody off. And when
yeah,
100 Thieves is playing, throw in a TSM thing as well.
yep.
Like the 100 Thieves fans realistically won't care as much. I really don't think they will, because realistically, 100 Thieves fans have been griping for a while that like they don't get the airtime on the dive and other platforms, but they also weren't good at the time. So now is when they're gonna be getting a lot of talk. So it's not gonna bother people in the same way that it bothers TSM. So
Yeah,
I agree with you. Whether it was intentional or not, I love it. Like, I love the fact
yeah,
that they're slowly building up this rivalry for what feels like it could be a pretty good a pretty good series between the two. Not only now, but just over the course of time, because 100 Thieves is the fastest growing esports organization, and TSM is at the top of North America. So
yeah,
it's like the two are destined to clash in terms of branding, in terms of everything. Like, they are destined to clash with each other everywhere across all games. And nowhere would that be more relevant than in the LCS.
yep. Especially a finals. If we could get a summer finals of them, oh,
Oh, that'd be so good.
just I mean, leading up to it, I can't imagine the content that dudes like Courage and Myth would put out, like that would hype people up. I mean, those two alone can get either of their side going quick.
Here's my
And
question to you, Paul.
yeah,
If it's 100 Thieves in TSM and it's in stadium, uh,
oh,
this would happen at the end of August, which I don't
yeah,
know if I can go because Emily and I are going to Puerto Rico. August 12th through,
hmm,
was it? Yeah, we're going through the 12th through the 19th. The last game of the regular season wraps up. Let me see. The last game wraps up the week of the 1st, so 3 weeks of playoffs. Finals will likely be August 28th and 29th. If it's 100 Thieves TSM, by the end of the regular split, we'll have a pretty good indication of whether it will likely be that way or not.
hmm
Do you want to make it a point to try and go?
Yeah, but I think I'll have drill.
Oh, you're gonna. Okay, damn.
Yeah, let me look.
Even on just that Saturday, Sunday, like if we were to fly out Saturday morning.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'll have. Let me see. Maybe I won't. Actually, I might not.
Well, we'll
I
find
could
it.
have
We
AT.
we have a
Yeah,
long
we'll have
time before
plenty
it
of time.
comes, but
We do.
I that would be cool as shit.
Oh, it would be
100
for
Thieves
sure.
versus TSM. Oh, imagine recording a
Oh,
podcast from wherever it's gonna be.
a hotel or whatever.
Try it like I
Oh.
swear I will DM every single player and like commentator and be like, look, we got a podcast, we're gonna be there in person. Can you join? Like,
True.
is there any way we can get you on even for a little bit?
Yep.
That'd be so
It'd
much
be
fun.
sick. I mean, that finals would be insane. I feel like that would be one of the few things that could help save viewership for now.
Oh, I'd be willing to say it would be the most viewed final that we've had in years.
Yeah, because lately it's been tough to get people to watch them. One, because TSM's been struggling to get in, but two, FlyQuest being in the last two. No offense to
It
them,
really hurt.
but it hurt.
Yeah.
Like, it's unfortunate, and I don't want them to feel bad, but they're not really good for the brand.
No, they're not. And don't
Yeah,
feel bad about saying that. It's the truth. Unfortunately, I love the people over at FlyQuest. They do a great job uh,
yeah.
with
The Wild
everything they're
Turtle
doing.
series were great.
Yeah, but
They were great.
the time has passed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we get something good.
And
The
genuinely
fi-
thinking about that. What?
uh, no, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, I was saying, genuinely thinking about that. Like, that I feel like there's no finals in EU I can think of outside of G2 Fnatic, maybe, that would be that fun again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe I just don't pay enough attention to them, but I feel like Mad Lions and Rogue are kind of boring franchises. Or the
Uh,
players. The orgs are
yeah.
good at trying to create hype, but the players don't really do much.
I will agree with the players part because I think the people at Rogue behind the scenes do a really good job.
Yep,
Their
they
content
do.
team does well. Uh,
And their Reddit guy is really good.
yeah, their Reddit guy is good. Their Twitter guy is also pretty good as well.
Yep,
Uh, Mad Lions not as much, but they're I don't think their audience is directed towards us. They're more for the Spaniards, so we don't see it as much.
true.
Uh, which I'm fine with. Like that ultimately that's fine. It's the same way as like, European football clubs, even though there are some big, some of the smaller clubs can still drive a ton of impressions just because of the storylines that come with them. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you though. I don't think there's a final in the LEC outside of Fnatic G2 that I really care about all that much in terms of storylines. Obviously, in terms of play, I'm gonna watch it because it's phenomenal gameplay.
Yeah. And I don't even really want to see Fnatic in there that bad because I don't think Fnatic is actually that that good. Like,
I'm impressed by Whippo, to be honest.
yeah, he's playing decent, and so is Dan. I just don't think they're gonna be in those finals for EU,
Yeah.
and that's why I don't get my hopes up. Alright.
So, final topic of the day, because I gotta let you go because I know you're in Disney and
Sure.
priorities are different there.
Yeah.
Uh, Monte Cristo. I most notable for his SKT hype train moment in League of Legends. Went to Overwatch for a bit. He tweeted out the following: "The best thing about 100 Thieves winning is seeing my friend Papa Smithy happy. Great, good part of the tweet. The second best thing is seeing all the people at 100 Thieves bandwagon so hard after never mentioning the LOL team in the past 2 years." What? I'm sorry. Like maybe again, full disclosure, I'm biased because I am a 100 Thieves fan and I've been paying more attention to it. And I also respect a lot of the people within management, both Jackson Dahl, John Robinson. I've also grown up with Courage. He was a great Call of Duty commentator. I have seen all of their prominent figures, barring like Valkyrie and the recent additions, talk about the League of Legends team over the last 2 years. No, it has not been anywhere near as consistent as it is now, but that's because they're winning, and it's not
Mhm.
bandwagoning. You just don't talk about your team when they're losing as much because why would you? It doesn't make sense to. You're not going to drive impressions. It's not like they're not TSM where it's popular to talk about it when they lose. Like they're not that type of team. And I don't know why Monte Cristo went in like this, but I'm happy that Jackson Dahl responded saying screw off. Monte Cristo responds saying fuck you, and Jackson responds saying I share the sentiment.
Oh,
Good.
that wasn't playful?
No, that was not playful
I
at
thought it was
all.
playful.
No, it was not.
Oh,
Yeah, that changes. It
oh.
it comes off playful, like with the
Yeah,
smiley face and like uh
it does.
Monte Cristo saying thanks for dropping by at the end. That
Dang.
that that did not come off playful. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a
I
ch-
see now, I see.
uh, there's a chance that it does, but like reading between the lines, I don't think it is.
Yeah, it's not. Uh, I'd say, as a TSM fan, I've never liked Monte Cristo or Thorn, so I'm okay with them dying out. And this is just another one of his grabs at trying to keep doing his thing. I mean, the dude literally acted like Riot Games was like the worst thing to have ever happened to the world, and then went to Overwatch, and Blizzard let him down shockingly in an esport. So I guess
So
he's just still looking to be relevant.
So I'll say this: I respected Monte Cristo and Thorin and Richard Lewis a lot early on in esports. Like I when I first
Well, they
came
had
in,
Lust Boy come on their show, so
did he say something that I missed?
I don't know. Lust Boy went on their Summoning Insight show.
I don't. I always like their opinions early on to a certain extent, and like I hate corporate greed, so like part
Hmm.
of like the digs at Riot I got, but as time went on, I really started to see more Monte Cristo and Thorin. I still think Richard Lewis does a really good job at like insider reporting, and I think
Hmm.
he has burnt some bridges, but I truly do respect all of his work in that regard. Thorin, for example, just put out the video about Jat and basically like burnt that bridge to the ground, and like there was a lot of like personal opinion mixed in with like insider information that he heard.
Hmm.
90% of the videos are relevant. If you can dig out like the 5 to 10% of what he's actually saying about insider stuff, then I'd take a look at that. But both his opinion and Monte Cristo's over time, it's just like I feel like they're too jaded at this point. Like it's like somebody kept peeling off a scab one too many times, and they just there's this like cynical view that constantly comes with them. Like I
Yeah.
get the scrutiny towards Riot Games at times. Greedy business is greedy business. For example, like the issues with the sexual harassment stuff and like that.
Yep.
Like I get that, but the constant hate on them for being one of the best developers in all of gaming, regardless of whether they can be greedy or not, they are still the most consumer friendly developer out there,
Yep.
without question. And you can't like it just seems like they're so willing to gloss over that, which I get. They've been around for longer than anybody else, but I, I don't like the toxicity. It's the same issue that I have with like Double Lift and some of the comments on the co-streams.
Yeah. I just I feel like I agree. Like their toxicity is always weird. Um, I would say the best thing I can warn you is get used to it, pal. Once your team starts winning, they try to ride coattails because all they chase is clout, and they'll just flame you guys. I mean, we've seen what they say about TSM literally 24/7. So they
Yeah.
constantly act like TSM is evil and terrible, and then TSM plays well or something, and they just flame them. So I don't know. Like I've never really liked either one of them. I don't really like talking about them that much, to be honest, because I don't like giving them any
Agreed.
free clout. But they're
So
like, but yeah, they definitely what he said about 100 Thieves just makes no sense because he went after an org that literally has been trying to get their LoL team popular, but they do respect that a lot of people who like them are FPS people. So what do you want them to do?
yeah,
Like they can't just spam it all day. Like I don't know what his expectation is. And yes, when a team wins, it's funny people show up. I mean, that's how it is. That's how it's always been. You have to be inhuman to not notice that. Like
yeah.
just how the world works. I
Uh,
don't know what to say.
Neither do I. Other than I think the best way to end that is just to repeat Jackson's tweet of "screw off." Uh,
Yup.
any final reactions you want to have for this week? Next week, I think we'll be a little bit more back to normal as uh,
Mhm.
things kind of settle down and you come back from Disney World and stop, galloping with Mickey Mouse across the streets.
Yup.
So
I would say next week is gonna be a very fun week to watch and see how the spread goes, because I think it's really gonna show us where TSM and 100 Thieves really are, in the sense of, or is this a real thing or not?
yeah,
And then it's also gonna help a lot with thinning out EU, and we can hope BCS comes back at some point.
hopefully, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
We'll see. Uh, I don't really have anything else to add. I've been a lot more opinionated this episode than most, I feel
Which is
like.
good.
Uh, Hopefully, I didn't piss too many people off, but alas. Uh, Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. The VOD will be out on YouTube tomorrow. I will have it out, and I'll have the clip out on TikTok as well of some sort of headline from our conversation today. Uh, yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. If you have anything you want to talk about, hit us up on Twitter at @DShynock or at 23TarHeels50. We're more than happy to
Yep.
discuss things and debate things in public as well as bring them up on the podcast and in other platforms. So, yeah, until then, see y'all next week.